Hey guys, welcome to Hazel's Hostels, where I guide you through hostels around the world. And today we're going to LA. Yeah, right here in good old America. So while it's amazing and fun to travel across the world to explore, going to big city hubs can be just as much of an adventure. So I wanted to show you guys around one of my favorite cities, LA. I know, that's surprising, right? Like, almost everybody hates LA. I actually used to live there for a pretty large chunk of my life, and I feel like I know a lot of the areas, like inside and out. So I feel like I can give really good advice, at least when it comes to these locations. I actually have almost every hostel in this city filmed at this point, but I want to start with the one that I've heard mentioned the most, PodShare. Now, if you're not familiar with the PodShare experience, it's really interesting. They actually set up shop hoping to create this really interesting renting system where like you pay a monthly fee and you can then move around different locations. But since the outbreak happened in 2020, they've actually been really good at helping the community house a lot of the people down on their luck. They of course still cater to both types of clientele and have a wide range of locations. This video is going to go a little bit deeper than I think some of my past ones because honestly it's kind of a special case. This is a hostel, a shelter, and it's a shared living community. Each location has its own vibe as well. And today we're going to the main house in Venice Beach. It's in a wonderful location, somewhat closer to the airport, and with plenty of things nearby, it has so much to explore. Actually, if you're interested in seeing my week-long stay here, there's a link in the corner for that experience. So let's talk about how to get here. Los Angeles does have a bus and subway system, but the location is so close to LAX that honestly, if you're flying in here, I think it's easier to get an Uber or Lyft just to save the time and headache. Because if you use transit, you're gonna have to change buses a few times. However, if you're coming from Union Station in DTLA, you actually have a few options, but if you want to use the one where you don't have to transfer, just walk around the corner and hop on the 33. It takes you right to the front gate of the hostel, and you can't beat that. So now that we're getting into this, I need to make a disclaimer of sorts. This is a hostel in the United States, a country that I'm from, and a city that I've lived in. So I actually have more of a duty to foreign travelers so that when they watch this, they can get a very clear picture and understand the situation. When I travel outside the country and make hostel videos, I can only speak on my traveler's experience, so it's quite different. None of this is meant to offend anyone. I just simply can't sugarcoat anything because I don't want anyone to feel tricked when they arrive. And I've seen a few reviews that said they feel this way. So safety-wise, PodShare collects the ID of everyone that walks through the doors, and they don't allow a lot of privacy. They say it's kind of like a community safety vibe. Like, if there's no privacy, no one will do anything. So if you're worried about theft, I would say bring a lock. They do have lockers available for rent, and if you want to err on the safe side, there you go. But I've left things out, I've never had anything stolen, and I've never bought a locker. But that is not to say that nothing will happen. Now, when it comes to female safety, I do honestly think you're good because there is someone here all the time. You're around people. If anything is a safety issue in my mind, it would be the fact that there's a lot of fights. Granted, most of them are verbal, but that does not mean that I didn't see my fair share of, moving on to health safety, because yeah, we have to talk about that too. So I have actually talked to a few former PodShare workers who have told me that some locations do have issues with rodents, and some locations do have issues with bed bugs. That is kind of to be expected. This is Los Angeles. I think that is just kind of a risk that all travelers take. You can get these at Airbnbs, hotels, and hostels. It just kind of comes with the territory. From my experience, since I have stayed at quite a few locations, I would say that Venice is probably the worst for cleanliness, and downtown is probably the best, surprisingly. I've never personally gotten bit by anything there, but I needed to include this so everyone knows it is a possibility. My personal advice is when you go to check in, if you're staying for more than just 1 or 2 nights, do yourself a favor and before you sign anything, ask if you can see your pod, because then you can kind of look around at your space, understand what you're getting yourself into, and if you just feel really uncomfortable at that point, then potentially you can get a refund, because once you sign the paperwork, you're not getting a refund. And if you can't get a refund, there is always the option of potentially moving pod shares. Now let's go over the layout. Podshare Venice is pretty big and somewhat like a maze. You have 2 gate entrances, but the main one is here, and as you walk along the garden, you'll see the front door. Walking in, you walk past the kitchen, the TV room, and the bathroom, and you'll see the check-in counter. Around you, you'll see a decent-sized lobby room with stairs leading to the office. And once you go past the check-in, you'll find most of the single beds, and then past them, you'll find all the doubles. There's also a full kitchen back here with a toilet, sink, and shower. You have 2 full exits back here. This one leads you to the parking lot, and this one leads you to the outdoor gym area. It has a volleyball net and a basketball court, and some other random items to enjoy. If you come through the bamboo, you'll find the garden, which has the smoking area, hammocks, a swing, and some benches. There's also a doorway here and some more seating and bikes that I think you can rent. There are even some barbecue pits out here for anyone to use. Overall, it is an amazing property and it's a really beautiful location. So let's talk about pods, because this is Podshare, right? Actually, if you manage to find a good, clean location, the beds are amazing. Like, I'm not even kidding. When you first walk up to your pod, usually on the bed, it has a nice display of free snacks. And it kind of always feels good to get free stuff. The pods themselves are made out of wood, and each location has different variations. Some locations even have doubles. And like I said, Venice is one of them. I personally like pods instead of bunk bed versions of hostels because they give you a better sense of like your own space. They can be a lot sturdier and not make that horrible creaking sound in the middle of the night. However, pods do end up being a little harder to clean. I will say the best part of Podshare is the mattress. They got some really good mattresses, so that is one of the highlights of this place. But where I started having issues was the pillows. Not only was like the pillowcase, it just kind of had a smell to it, but the pillow came out of the pillowcase at one point. I didn't like seeing that. It was just really yellow, and all of the feathers kind of had, or like the stuffing had like made clumps. So it was no longer like a pillow, and it was just like clumps of stuff. I know you know what I'm talking about. The blanket is rather nice, but I'm not gonna lie, it's a little thin. And some of the locations will leave their doors or windows open at night, which is kind of nice because you get, well, street noise, I guess. But it can get really hot or really cold. Because the blanket's thin, sometimes I did find myself getting cold in the colder months. Other than that, you'll find a light in your pod, a whiteboard, and 2 Type A sockets with 2 USB ports as well. At the foot of the pod, you'll find a hook or 2, a small shelf, and a TV. But I have never been able to get the TV to work, like at any location. I don't know if you need like a cable to hook your laptop up to or something, but next time I'll ask. However, if you do want to watch some TV, there is a front room with a sofa and a large TV. Right behind that, you'll find the lobby, which isn't huge but has some seating. If you're looking for a place to study, then right up the stairs, you'll find this nice, quiet, dark workspace. It's pretty dark up here and I could never find it empty enough to get a full tour. There's also a piano and some books up here. So there's actually 2 kitchens, which is really nice when you're housing this many people. The front kitchen had an oven, a stove, a microwave, and a fridge. But when it comes to the organization of trying to find things, there didn't seem to be much in order. I did find one drawer dedicated for cutlery, but everything else was just kind of wherever. You'll find the back kitchen to the left of this table and sofa by the double beds. It's kind of odd because it just kind of goes from bed to sofa to kitchen. There really isn't many places to sit and eat a meal, but there is this bar on the other side of the room. However, it is slightly covered in just random odds and ends. I feel like it's more of a place to enjoy like a morning cup of coffee. In the kitchen, you will find a toaster and a kettle and some random kitchen things. I am honestly phrasing this so awkwardly because it was super random experiencing it. Then you have a sink, a microwave, a stove, and an oven. There's also a second added microwave next to the clean bedding. At least in this kitchen, there was some consistency in where they stored some things. There's a drawer for rags, utensils, pots, pans, and cleaning supplies. And up here, you'll find your food storage. If you want to store food in the fridge, make sure you put your name on it for real. One thing about this place is some nights people are just vibing and it is magical. Because this place is a hostel plus shared living, it can be a fight some moments and a family another. Some days people just give out free donuts and cookies. It's kind of nice. Anyways, around the corner you will find the bathroom. Up front you have a hallway of toilets that face a large mirror with sinks. If you follow this all the way back, there are 2 showers. They can be a bit damp and musty, but the water pressure is really nice. One of them is a tile shower with just like a plastic curtain, and the other is an acrylic styled with a shuttered door. The toilets are also shuttered doors with a latch hook, so I don't know how secure I felt about that. I mean, one push and someone's definitely coming in. At the sink, you'll actually find quite a few things left out so that you can use them. If you look inside the drawers, you'll find a plethora of hot tools for your hair and other cosmetic items. But also heading back to the back again, around the corner from the kitchen, you'll see a sink where most people hang out to brush their teeth. But there's also a toilet with some toilet paper and a shelf. And a shower back here. When you enter, you're in the changing room, so you have a shelf to put down your items and hang your clothes. There are a few more products you're free to use, and in the drawer you'll find more hot tools like hair dryers. I'll be honest, this shower isn't great, the water pressure is low, and it makes a constant humming noise. And while it's actually pretty large, I couldn't handle the amount of mildew on all of the surfaces. So let's talk about the laundry. So they don't have a room dedicated to laundry, but they do offer to wash a load of your clothes for $5. Truthfully, I would say this is rather comparable to a lot of other hostels with the coin machines. You typically spend around $4 anyways, and you have to do your own laundry. Another thing I want to mention really quickly is they do tend to do the hostel's bedding laundry out in the middle, at the check-in desk or just wherever. There isn't really staff areas as much as most places that you stay in. So I do kind of want to help people understand this is really a community. Most of the staff are people who live at Podshare. It's just a different experience than anything else. And I'm gonna let that lead us into the next segment. Who's this hostel for? Okay, this is such a loaded question. First, I'm not talking about Podshare as a whole. This is a channel about hostels, and I am doing each specific location. So this is just the Venice location. First, the location is amazing. It's in a beautiful area with so much to do and see. There's a farmer's market across the street on Fridays. There's also a library open to the public. You're right down the street from great food, but I'll admit that it can be rather expensive. Pizza by the slice is always a good option, or Venice ramen is like another favorite of mine because it's like authentic Tokyo ramen. To get around, you have plenty of public transportation options. You have the bus that's like right outside. You can rent a car and even park it here. And if you're just staying in the area, you can ride scooters. For anyone that is used to backpacking, is a seasoned traveler, doesn't have a weak stomach for co-living, this is a great place. If you're someone who finds yourself thriving in quirky, weird energy, if you're looking for an emotional challenge, you'll love this place. It is full to the brim of people who are characters. It's not a party hostel, but it is a lively one. Actually, on certain nights, they'll even have Podshare open mic nights with comedians and bands and stuff. And they like do a barbecue in the backyard with like seating. It is legit. So other than like a seasoned traveler passing through, if you're a novice but kind of want a bit of culture shock, like you feeling like you're closed-minded but are kind of wanting to change, like a challenge in that area, don't know where to start, that's what this place is for. I don't really see any danger in this place outside of some challenging moments.
You don't have to tell me what to do. You don't have to tell her what to do. Stop acting like this.
But I think challenge is a good thing.
Fuck.
This place offers a space for someone to step outside their comfort zone. And now that like I look back at it, I'm really glad I stayed there. It taught me a lot. But that is it for this video. Don't forget to sub because I will be bringing some really cool videos soon. I'll see you next time.